Josh with Kodiak Christian Outdoors, and today I want to talk to you about what are known as the 5 C's of survivability. It's a part of a list of 10 C's, but with these 5 being the core, the 5 things that you do not want to be caught out in an unexpected survival situation without. So let's get to it. The very first C is your cutting tool. Now, that can be whatever you want it to be. I always carry a standard pocket knife and this fixed blade knife here from Wyndham Blades. You can check out my review on this knife in another video. But these knives are always with me on my body every day, no matter what I'm doing. This one's on my belt, a pocket knife in my pocket. I carry 2 because there's an old saying that 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Meaning that if you've got 2, at least 2, then when Murphy's Law kicks in and you lose your primary, you have a backup. And so I stick to that, and I always carry 2 blades on my body, and I probably have another one, multi-tool or something in my pack, usually all the time. So, but these are my cutting tools. So, after cutting tool, you want a combustion tool. Now, Bic lighter. Pretty easy, it's very small, doesn't weigh anything. This goes in my pocket every day. Every day when I get up, I'm getting myself together, this goes in my pocket. Not because I'm a smoker, I don't smoke, but you never know when you're going to be found in a situation, and I don't want to have to think about what I need to have with me. This is part of my everyday routine, so I always have a cutting tool and combustion in my pocket. Now, here again, I've got a backup. Attached to my fixed blade knife that's on my belt, I've got a ferro rod and a magnesium bar. So I can always throw sparks. This is surefire. This is going to happen until it runs out of fuel, obviously. But I've got a backup, a go-to. And I've combined both of these with Ranger bands that I can use as tinder. Alright? With this, I can just put a flame to it and it will light. With the ferro rod, you've got to process it down, but it will take a spark. So, all right, I've got 2 of my 5 C's there, and some of them are combined. The next is a container, and not just any container. It's got to be a metal container, preferably stainless steel. This one has been painted. I've covered it with high heat paint, like you would use on a grill if you needed to touch it up. But that's just so that when I use this for the intended purpose of not just carrying water, but to purify, or not really purify, but to clean my water, it will be a little bit more protected from my fire. I've got my combustion tool, I can get a fire going. Now I've got a container that I can collect water, set in that fire, bring it to a boil, and I've got clean water, some potable water to drink. So a metal container, if you can find one with a wide lid, that's great. But you need some sort of metal container with you in your kit. The next would be cordage. Now I've gotten to where I like to use this bank line. This is an 85-pound test bank line, but you can get a lot larger than that. Now I do carry some paracord with me also, and it's great. Paracord's awesome, but this is cheap. You get a ton of it, and I mean, really, for most practical purposes, 85 to 100-pound test will do most everything you want it to do. So this has gotten to be my favorite type of cordage. I've incorporated that onto my sheath. You know, I've got about 20 feet of that bank line wrapped on my sheath. So now I've kind of got 3 all in one right here. The last is cover. Now your cover can be as obvious as something as your tent. You've got a tent to sleep in, that's going to cover you from the elements. But you need to think simpler than that. Think about the clothes that you're wearing. That's your very first cover, your very first line of defense against the elements. Make sure you're dressed appropriately. I don't know how many times I see people heading out in blue jeans and a cotton t-shirt. That might be fine in some areas, but in Kodiak you never know what the weather's going to do. A storm can blow in that you weren't expecting, and now you're wet, you're cold, and you're going to stay wet and cold because your cotton clothes have soaked up as much water as they can. I know in some areas cotton's great for the heat. When you're just trying to stay nice and cool from the heat, cotton's awesome. But I tend to stick to synthetics and natural fibers such as wool instead of cotton. So think about what you're putting on your body when you get ready to head out. You also want to kind of create a system for yourself. Layer up. If it's cool in the morning, get you a nice fleece on. If there's a chance of rain, maybe, take a rain shell. I've always got a rain shell in the bottom of my backpack. It just stays in there, so I've always got that ready to go. But something else to consider when you're putting your kit together is something like a reusable space blanket. Now you can pick up, the old Mylar space blankets for a couple bucks at Walmart, and those are great. Those are fine. They'll do their job. But this reusable space blanket, number one, it's reusable. It's kind of like the weight of a tarp. It's got one shiny side and then one bright orange side, which is really nice if you find yourself in a survival situation because you can face the orange out. Now you've made yourself visible to planes, helicopters, other hikers. They know that you're there. You're visible to them. And then the reflective side will help reflect your heat back, keep you warm. So that's something that you might want to look at investing in. I think it's less than $20. So it's reusable. You're not throwing anything away. So that's definitely something I'd stick in my kit. So assess what you have, what you carry with you on your normal outings. Do you have a cutting tool? Do you have combustion tool? Do you have a metal container to boil water in? Do you have cordage for whatever you need? Maybe you just blew out a shoelace. You need to lace up your boot. Do you have the cordage to take care of the job? And do you have cover? Make sure you're dressed appropriately, and make sure you have something that you can improvise a shelter with if need be. Well, I hope this has helped you out. I'll do another video to cover the other 5 C's, so we'll combine them all to have the 10 C's of survivability. But this was that 5C core. So hope that you can take a look at your gear and get yourself ready. You don't catch yourself out there without what you need. So I appreciate you stopping by. Keep checking us out at KodiakChristianOutdoors.com. Like us on Facebook. And remember, guys, when you get a chance to get outdoors, make the most of it and play hard. But at the end of the day, don't forget to pray harder. We'll catch you next time.